65, Awakening to Love. I'm Tomas Garza, your host, and I want to thank you for tuning in here today. And I want to thank you for joining on all of the programs here on Enlightened World Network. As you may know, if you've watched the network before, there are a number of different types of shows, different channels, and so many tremendous and inspiring spiritual themed offerings here. And I'm delighted to be able to bring you my experience with this extraordinary self-study curriculum, A Course in Miracles. Many of you have some familiarity with this, and it may be new to some, and this has been a daily live stream, well, almost daily. I typically take Sundays off and travel days because happily I've begun to travel a little bit more now, and I'm really happy about that. We've been doing this since January, and it's just about every day. So we are going through a segment of the course called a workbook for students. And if you're just tuning in, you're absolutely welcome here, and you're in the right place at the right time. Consider there are many reasons why you're watching this show today, right now. Whether you're watching it live or whether you're catching this on the replay, definitely feel welcome to say hello. Please say hi in the comments. If you have questions or comments about the material that we cover today, feel welcome to leave that here. These are comments that I check here on the Facebook page throughout the day. So feel welcome. This is a community, and we're very happy to be able to offer the wisdom, just the presence of this spiritual text. It's really quite wonderful. And if you're just tuning in for the first time, or maybe you've not seen most of these live streams, this has been the centerpiece. I'm talking A Course in Miracles. It's been the centerpiece of my own spiritual practice since 2013. I've been trained in a number of different traditions, including a couple of pretty fundamentalist Christian traditions growing up. I've studied Buddhism, I've studied shamanism in various forms, and here I am with A Course in Miracles as the centerpiece. And it's universal spirituality. The beauty of this is its self-study. It's not a religion. It's not a cult or a religious sect. There's no sectarianism. There's no fundamentalism. It's self-study. That is one of the genius elements of A Course in Miracles, is it gives us something to study, gives us something to do, and we literally go at our own pace. We're not required to believe anything. You're not required to believe anything I say. Isn't that nice? Right? I mean, so many of us have experiences growing up, perhaps in a tradition that you may have been raised in, religious, spiritual. People often expect us to believe things in the world, don't they? We're expected to believe things, and there are consequences that get attached to that. You're expected to believe this or else you'll suffer, you'll burn in hell, gnashing of teeth and fire and brimstone. Yeah, for example, I was raised with that. Maybe you were raised with that too. With A Course in Miracles, that is gone. It's gone. There are no expectations other than you do your best on each given day to apply the ideas that we cover. That's it. I mean, what else actually can be expected of us than to do our best applying these ideas, studying and applying? And that's where the action is in the application. Spirituality is about experience. It's not about collecting degrees. Isn't that exciting? That's good, right? That's really good. We don't have to have advanced degrees to study this. You don't have to have an advanced degree in theology or comparative religion or anything like that to get the maximum out of this course. Doesn't matter what background you come from. It does not matter your religious or spiritual tradition. It doesn't matter your gender, your age, what part of the world you come from. By the way, this live stream is literally worldwide. It doesn't matter any of that. This is universal spirituality. You are more than welcome to keep your current tradition. No one here is asking you to give up something in favor of something else that's supposedly better. No, it's not better, nor is it inferior. It's a presentation of universal spirituality. And there are many, many people out there who apply the lessons and the principles of A Course in Miracles to their own spiritual practice, to their own extant spiritual practice, whether that's Buddhism, Christianity, or something else. Doesn't really matter what it is. There are ideas here that can eliminate and augment your current path. And they can help shed a lot of light on your current walk. So I invite you to tune in, and I invite you to take these to heart. And if it speaks to you, to purchase a copy of A Course in Miracles if you don't own one. You don't have to own one to watch this, by the way. All of this information that I'm going to cover and that I cover every day is readily available online, where there are fantastic commentaries. There are erudite lectures and so much helpful material out there. If you're so called to study this, I think that you'll really be glad that you did. I certainly am. All right, so where are we? Well, we're on lesson 123 in the workbook for students today. We have spent the last few days here on the show taking some very extensive and very deep looks at the practice of forgiveness and the centrality, the importance of forgiveness to A Course in Miracles. It's central. And if you missed any of those, I invite you to go back. You can catch back episodes on Enlightened World Network's YouTube channel. The show title is A Course in Miracles 365, Awakening to Love. All the back episodes, the most recent 3 back episodes, all deal with forgiveness in great detail. And we'll come back to that subject. It really is the energy and the fuel that moves us here in this course. What we're going to do today is lesson 123 focuses on gratitude. On gratitude. The text of the idea is, I thank my Father for his gifts to me. Just that. I thank my Father for his gifts to me. I thank God. I thank Source, Spirit, the universe, your guides, the Holy Spirit, Spirit in general, Self with a capital S, for his, her, its gifts to me. I thank my Father for his gifts to me. You'll notice that the Course uses terms that are familiar to Christianity, like Father, Son, Son of God, Holy Spirit, yeah, and also terms that are familiar to students of Eastern philosophy, such as the ego. It really does blend the two. It's completely universal. So I thank my Father for his gifts to me. We're spending some time today in gratitude. So question, this is something I'd love for you to put in the comment thread. How do you express gratitude? Do you have a gratitude practice? This would be a really interesting comment thread. So if you're catching this here live, how do you have gratitude? How do you express it? Do you have a gratitude practice? Do you list things if you journal every day? Do you list things that you're grateful for? Do you have a specific gratitude journal? Do you spend some time in contemplation, prayer, meditation, giving thanks? Yeah. People talk a lot about this, but let's talk for a minute about how and why it's so important. It's very, very important that we do this because we beat ourselves up in spirituality, don't we? I've talked about this again on the live stream, so let's talk about this one more time because it's relevant here. It's very important to give thanks for what we have, the gifts that we have received, our own bounty that we've received. And if you're feeling financially broke, all right, so be it, right? That we're talking about all of life here. There will be, even if you're concerned with things like paying the bills, the rent, the mortgage, that sort of thing, there are things in your life that you can be grateful for, such as life itself, for starters. There are always things, there's always something. There might be a gentle rain that's falling outside, which we're actually getting here this morning in Arizona, in the desert, where it's always welcome. So there are many things, and up to and including life itself, your own breath, the fact that your heart is beating, your own physical health. Yeah, so much, so much. So when we spend time in gratitude, it absolutely lightens our mood, doesn't it? It lightens our mood. And we beat ourselves up in spiritual practice because we compare, don't we? We compare ourselves to teachers that we see on a live stream. I mean, I invite you not to compare yourself to me. Definitely not. We're each having our own journeys here, and we each have our own people to reach, our own walk here in the world. Ultimately, of course, it's all the same and there are no separations of any kind. But while we appear to be having separate experiences here in the world, we often indulge in comparative reality. And we look at people like the Dalai Lama, for example, like the Pope. We look at past figures, maybe like Mother Teresa, who had attained a high degree of realization, obviously, and compare ourselves to them. And well, it doesn't work. We're not separate from them. And that's why it doesn't help us to do that. We beat ourselves up all the time thinking that we should be calmer, that we should be able to meditate longer, right? We should be able to hold a yoga pose longer than we do. However, what I invite people to do is give thanks for what you have and the fact that you're on the path in the first place. I invite you, please, to give thanks for, legitimate, heartfelt gratitude for the fact that you're watching this live stream today. This means a lot of things to me. Number one, I appreciate that you're here. Number two, I appreciate that you're on the path and that you've heard the call. And I mean, call with a capital C, the call to awaken, and that you're on the path. Now, what I invite people to do, if you're thinking that, gosh, I should be further along than I am, we all understand in our hearts that that's not helpful dialogue. So, one thing that you could do is whatever your path is, whatever your practice is, think of where you were when you began this. Now, if it was just yesterday, think of yesterday. If it was 20 years ago, think of that. And now look at yourself today and see how different you are as a result of that practice. That each of us has our own progress to make, and we go at our own speed. We go at our own speed. If you've been doing a practice long enough, even if it's just 24 hours, you will be a different person today than you were yesterday. And you are most certainly further along your path today than you were 20 years ago, or longer, depending on what the path is and how long you've been following it. So that can be really helpful. It's something to give thanks for, that you've heard the call. Now, there are a number of things that the commentary in the workbook list today in lesson 123, but we're sitting and we're giving ourselves the opportunity to sit and rest in gratitude today for everything that we've been given. It's very, very important that we do so. How does it feel to you when you legitimately allow yourself a gratitude practice, a moment or 15 minutes, as this workbook lesson calls for? It's uplifting, it's inspiring. And here's another thing that's entirely consistent with the philosophy and thought system of A Course in Miracles. As you give thanks, you receive thanks. As you give thanks to God, your higher self, spirit, divinity, source, for everything that you've been given, for all of your blessings, everything, you receive what you give. This is as true with gratitude as it is with anything else. To give is to receive. Now, when we give thanks for all of our gifts, all of our blessings, we receive many times over, don't we? Thousands of times, millions of times over. It's an enlightening and uplifting practice. This is why you see so many people, spiritual teachers and non-spiritual teachers, right? That's why you see so many people talking about gratitude, preaching about the importance of gratitude. As you give, you receive. So this, I would think, I would hope anyway, would be heartening and uplifting to you. Okay, so I don't know who's on here live, but I'm going to check this out. And again, a question for all of us: what is your gratitude practice? Do you have a gratitude practice? And if you do, what is that? What does that look like for you? And I'll bring some comments up here. And as always, if you're catching the replay, feel welcome to add your comments here and to say hello. We've literally had people from all over the world here. We've got a couple people tuning in. Hi, Norma. How are you? Norma, ¿cómo está? Usted tiene una práctica de dar gracias. ¿Cómo es? ¿Qué hace? Okay. Yeah. What do you do? What does your gratitude practice look like? Very, very interesting. All right, Norma. Thank you for tuning in. Muchas gracias por haberme acompañado aquí. La pregunta es si usted tiene una práctica de dar gracias a Dios, bueno, al universo, lo que sea. ¿Qué es y qué hace? All right. So guys, we're acquiring a large Spanish-speaking audience, and this is beautiful. And I want to invite you, as you're tuning in here, I'm going to give a plug to a really wonderful show that's just begun here on the network, and that's Montserrat's show, Ángeles y Arcángeles, and it's bilingual. She'll give commentary and a show presentation in English and Spanish. So this is something we've expanded to. EWN has a channel by our very dear friend Danielle Prou in French, EWN Français, and we're expanding. We're literally worldwide. We're working on an Italian channel. So we've got programming in many, many different languages. Very beautiful. Okay, so as you catch this on the replay, please let me know how you express gratitude, what that looks like for you. And we'll continue tomorrow with the workbook for students with commentary here. And as always, feel welcome to ask me any questions if you have comments or would just like to say hi. That's perfectly acceptable. We can all say hi. All right. So thank you for tuning in, and I will see you.